You may also hear the Orion spacecraft
Hello,
referred
hello,
to today
hello.
as Integrity.
You are
This
watching
was named
Artemis 2
by
Flyby.
the Artemis 2 crew.
Live
It is
coverage from NASA
Integrity
TV.
crew, we have Reed's family in the viewing gallery. You're welcome to say hello.
Well, whether you're being serious or you're kidding around, that is awesome to hear. Thanks, Jenny. And hello to Ellie and Katie. I don't know who else is there, but it's great to know that you're in mission control right now, following along. We are having a blast up here, and the view of the moon is absolutely amazing.
I'm seeing a lot of hearts come out of the viewing gallery and even more smiles. Thanks, Reed.
Hello, Brennan. We've got Artemis 2 flyby of the
Copy
moon
heart,
going on.
copy bracelet.
Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news.
that call from Capcom. Jenny
what you
Gibbons,
see up in the upper left-hand
Canadian
corner is the
Space Agency
Apollo
astronaut
record.
and Artemis 2 backup crew member, letting Reed Wiseman know that he has family here to support him today in the Artemis Mission Control viewing room.
Can you hear everything okay, Brandon? If you want me to, do you want to jump on voice? I can load up voice. I'll go into private.
As I was mentioning, we have the Orion spacecraft flying today. However, the Artemis crew members named their Orion spacecraft Integrity, so you will hear calls to this entire crew with the name Integrity. They say that the name Integrity embodies the foundation of trust, respect, candor, and humility across the crew and the many engineers, technicians, scientists, planners, and dreamers required for mission success.
Yeah.
So we got Brennan in the house watching this flyby, or soon to be a flyby. They're getting closer to the moon.
Outside of Orion, as we
One of the other swings actually shows the moon.
preparing for our lunar flyby.
Does it? This is NASA's stream.
From surpassing the
This is the only stream I'm allowed to use.
For the farthest humans to travel from Earth.
It's breaking news, Brennan.
The farthest that Integrity travels today.
They're the only one you're allowed to use?
Yeah, you can't steal streams.
They reach approximately
So how are you supposed to use it?
of 252,760 miles. That would be about 4,105 miles.
Because it's NASA, it's a government entity.
These numbers are our targets.
How do I get that FPS up at the top of my screen?
Those numbers as soon as we possibly can and share them with you all.
There. But this is like history in the making. This is pretty. I thought this was pretty cool. So it says the Apollo record is 4 minutes and 9 seconds. So we'll see what happens. And then, you don't have to make a new stream key anymore.
We talked a little bit about what to expect from the crew, whether that's taking photos
you just
or
kind of
making
just
audio
change your
recordings.
title and everything and push save. Use the same stream key, you know
Jeremy
that?
Hansen will be up first to capture imagery.
Oh, look at the
record audio
Nutella
on the
flyby.
computing devices. You hear those
Nutella.
referred to as
They got Nutella up
PCDs,
there.
while Victor and Christina serve as
Hey,
the
and
support
we're going to make a
members.
video after this,
The crew will
Brennan.
switch windows and roles halfway
These
through
snack
their
crates
shift,
we got up
and
here,
1 hour and 5 minutes
it's a
later,
scam.
Victor Glover and Christina Cook will be the next crew members at
They're
Windows
still
2 and
charging
3
Vanessa's
to
account,
take
and she's
photos
been
and
trying
make
to cancel
annotations while Reed and
for the
Jeremy
last
take on
year.
those support roles.
What are you going to
There are
do?
5 viewing blocks,
Hey,
and the
Hodge.
crew will swap out
Welcome
with
in.
each
Welcome
one.
in. You're just
During 2 of the blocks, the 2 support members
time
will
to
also be able to enjoy their
catch all the
midday
NASA
meal.
coverage of the Artemis moon flyby. They're going to go into I think a 40-minute blackout is what I heard. It's going to be a 40-minute blackout.
At least 3 times per block is
Yeah,
a
how you go get it to stop charging?
report. This
Huh?
is partially in operational status.
Well,
reporting back
if she
they
tries
missed any
to stop it
targets
on
or
her
gotten any
card,
specific ones.
they'll
If
they'll
they
put a
have
hold
issues
on her
with their
card. So
camera
she's going
or
to change
any
the payment
other,
method to her
operational
DoorDash
items,
card where it
the
says
other
no
part
money
is
in
an
it.
actual description of the moon. This
She
task
did
is
get a
done
new
by one of
card
the
for her
support
bank
team
account.
astronauts, so that's
Okay.
not the crew
Yeah.
currently taking
It
photos
wouldn't
or
let her do
making
it. Well, we're going
annotations,
to
but
make
they
a
do have
nice
windows
video
1
after
and
this.
4 that they can float up and provide that information from. If you watch the entirety of the flyby, you'll also notice the crew will be photographing some targets multiple times to get observations in different lighting conditions.
So a little
look at the other screen. Look at the 2-second screen.
Scouting for a map on the moon.
They showing the moon.
There you go. There you go.
What this crew will be able to capture in a couple.
You're talking about the screen I'm watching, Brennan?
Yeah, I see the moon.
Years to do because of solar and spacecraft positioning.
So distance to the moon from Earth, just a little fun fact, is 238,900 miles. Took exactly, what, 4 days, Brennan, is what I heard?
They'll be able to see 5 of those.
How long does it take to get to the moon?
And where they are around the moon.
Takes about 3 days.
Those targets are diverse and complex.
So they're going to slingshot around the moon, but they'll go into, they're going into
You know what
a
you should do? Move your
40-minute blackout.
Move your camera.
My camera, where to?
Where you want to move it to?
I did. I moved it. I had it up in the corner, but I want to leave that NASA there.
Well, you want make it, Wes? You want to make it smaller?
Is it too big? Oh, my head's covering the moon.
You on the moon already, aren't you? Put yourself on the moon. So you just look at the rocket, right?
The mission, you can see that the configuration of the cabin is a little bit different than what it looked like on launch day. After ascent, the crew were allowed to reconfigure.
We'll sit here and listen to some of the NASA coverage.
Taken down seats. They have also taken away footrests. This gives them more opportunity to move about the spacecraft.
We got 50 seconds to the Apollo record.
Orion itself has 330 cubic feet of habitable volume.
Now, would they start doing a loop?
2 minivans and is 60% more cubic volume than the Apollo spacecraft.
That's nice. They got 60%.
For the Integrity crew aboard Orion to surpass the Apollo 13 record.
Oh, hey. "20 seconds and they'll surpass the Apollo 13 record."
What does that mean?
That moon keeps getting closer and closer. Yeah, it is pretty cool stuff, Hodge. History.
Integrity crew.
Here we go. Here we go, Brendan.
1970, during the Apollo 13
mission,
Wait.
3 explorers set the record for the farthest distance humans have ever traveled from our home planet.
Listen to the lady speak.
At that time, over 55 years ago, Lovell, Swigert, and Hayes flew 248,655 statute miles away from Earth. Today, for all humanity, you're pushing beyond that frontier. Integrity, over to you.
So there you heard it from NASA. They surpassed the Apollo 13 moon mission record.
Yeah,
we continue to listen to NASA and their commentary.
So would they put this on make a loop?
They're starting right now.
We do so in honoring the extraordinary efforts and feats of our predecessors in human space exploration. We will continue our journey even further into space before Mother Earth succeeds in pulling us back to everything that we hold dear. But we most importantly choose this moment to challenge this generation and the next to make sure this record is not long-lived.
Thank you, Integrity, and congratulations to you and the rest of the Artemis 2 team.
So they are going to be flying on the back side of the moon, the dark side of the moon. And when that happens, they will lose 40 minutes of contact from the Earth.
You know there's a video started to cut out.
Yeah, that just a little bit, isn't it?
Craters on the moon that have not been previously named, and our crew would like to propose a couple of potential names for those items, for those areas. And we spent a bit of time this morning looking out the window, and we're able to see them now, both with our naked eye and through the long lens, and so we feel this is a good time
Why don't
to
you hop on your
send this
computer,
down, and a
Brennan, and
I am.
watch the video, not watch my stream, but watch the NASA's video, so we have up to date when they're talking about stuff.
Crater in honor of our spacecraft.
I'll go switch it to the moon video.
So if you were to look at Oriental on the far side and then draw a line straight up to
They're going to be
Ulm
naming
on
some
the far
craters, so we'll listen in.
relatively in the middle is an unnamed crater, and we would like to suggest it be called Integrity in the future. And the second one, and especially meaningful for this crew, is a number of years ago we started this
So while I'm
in our close
I'm going to step away from the mic for a second. Brennan, can you talk to people?
Huh? There's a feature in a really neat place on the moon.
You can bring up my stream and you can talk to people. So Brennan's going to keep company. I need to step away from the mic real quick.
In a minute, I'll be back.
And so at
Oh,
certain
well, we'll wait till
times
Brennan gets back.
of the moon's transit around Earth, we will be able to see this from Earth. And so we lost a loved one. Her name was Carol, the spouse of Reed, the mother of Katie and Ellie. And if you want to find this one, you look at Glushko, and it's just to the northwest of that, at the same latitude as Ohm, and it's a bright spot on the moon. And we would like to call it Carol, and you spell that Carroll.
Integrity and Carroll Crater. Loud and clear. Thank you.
Again, you're watching live coverage of NASA and Artemis 2 mission Moon Flyby here on Matt's channel.
Is that you showing everything?
Yeah, they're in their spaceship right now on NASA's feed. So while we're watching this, I'm going to look up some stuff.
As the Artemis 2 crew passed
We'll look up
the
some fun
record
facts
set by Apollo 13
about the moon.
for the farthest humans to ever fly from Earth at 12:57 p.m. Central Time, 1:57 p.m. Eastern Time. Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen shared.
We're getting ourselves all put back together now, and we are going to dim the cabin lights and prepare for our science objectives ahead. Thank you.
So
Sounds good. We're doing the same down here, and you're maneuvering to your observation attitude.
So they're getting ready to start taking pictures of the moon. So they're going to be dimming the lights so they can have maximum light.
As we pass that Apollo 13 record of the
so they can
farthest
see
humans to ever fly
on the dark
from
side
Earth
of the moon from
At
the space.
12:57 p.m. Central Time, 1:57 p.m. Eastern Time, the Artemis II crew shared some poignant words, specifically Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen. The crew also called down 2 craters not yet named that they would like to name. One, Integrity, in honor of their spacecraft, which they have named. That's near the Ohm crater. Another near Glushko, which is a bright spot, named Carol, in memory of Reed Wiseman's wife.
So you heard they're going to name 2 craters on the moon.
There was a
one
moment of silence here
one Integrity,
in
and the
Mission
other
Control
one was
Houston. And now the team
was it
and the
Rose?
Artemis II crew
I don't
are
remember
ready
the name,
to begin
but-
their lunar flyby.
They're getting ready to do their lunar flyby as they get closer and closer. That's just amazing. It's the first time NASA has been by the moon since, Apollo 13. So some fun facts about the moon. The moon causes tides. The moon's gravity pulls on Earth's oceans, creating high and low tides. Always the same face. The moon rotates the same rate as it orbits Earth, meaning we only see one side of the moon. We never see the other side of the moon, which is only one side of the moon. You know, people think the moon is like a not active, not alive and breathing in essence, but there's moonquakes that happen on the moon. The moon is not geologically dead. Moonquakes occur. It can last up to 30 minutes, much longer than earthquakes. The moon does not produce its own light. It reflects sunlight. Did you know, Brennan, there is no atmosphere on the moon? Because there's no atmosphere, there is no sound on the moon, and it's heavily cratered by meteorites.
We are 4 days, 19 hours, 31 minutes mission elapsed time of the flight of Artemis II, our 4 astronauts aboard Orion. Today is our lunar flyby day.
Today is Lunar Flyby Day.
The spacecraft is currently about 12,000 miles away from the moon, and you can keep up with the distance from Orion to the moon and Earth by visiting nasa.gov/track-Artemis. Or you can just stay with us here because we're going to be telling you.
They still got a bit of ways to go.
They are currently 248,834 miles away from planet Earth.
Well, you think of that about that. That's they got 12,000 miles to go to the moon, and that's how far away they are to the moon. That's why the moon continues to get bigger in your screen. Any questions you got about the moon, Brennan?
No.
Did you know the footprints on the moon, that when Neil Armstrong landed on the moon, did you know the footprints on the moon, they last forever?
Why? Because there's no wind. Why?
Yep. Because there's no atmosphere.
Don't want Leo's get in trouble.
And here's another fun fact. Did you know the moon is not made of cheese?
Nah.
Many cartoons, like your Tom and Jerry cartoon, portray the moon because the craters make it look like Swiss cheese. So, they portray the moon as being made of cheese.
When they were far away earlier this morning, it was awfully bright.
Coming
The
up next
moon
on the
was.
cruise
Oh,
timeline
yeah?
today,
Wouldn't that
will
be
the
cool if
cabin
you could see the
configuration
spacecraft
portion.
fly by the
You
moon
heard some calls down to
during,
Science Officer
or
Dr.
and see
Kelsey
it at
Young
night? That'd be
earlier
kind of cool.
about how they have configured the cabin
Imagine
so far.
what the
This is just a
moon
little bit
has
more
witnessed through
of,
time. Oh,
time-bound
definitely,
activity
Hodge.
for them
Yes,
if they need to
the moon
further
definitely
do
has
so.
witnessed, the hostility of this world and the
On
goods and
flight day 3,
the
the
goods
crew
also.
had time on their schedule
Goods and
allotted
bads.
for configuring the spacecraft
A lot of
cabin for
history
how they intended to
that moon
arrange
has
it
witnessed.
today. Of course,
Good
they
and
had
bad.
to take down that configuration for another test yesterday of their Orion Crew Survival System suits.
I mean,
But configuring it on flight day 3
asteroids
allows
sounds
them
like the moon
opportunity to
attracts
get a chance to see
asteroids in
what
a
works
way, and
for
that's
them
good
now
for
that
our
they are in the
planet.
microgravity environment.
The original, the original moon equipment, moon rover that they took up in Apollo missions when they landed on the moon, it's still up there. The American flag is still up there on the moon.
I hope 1 year they do go to Mars, right?
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 years from now, I think they plan on going to Mars. But this is all in preparation for another eventual moon landing. So the temperatures.
Again, the crew is about to begin their cabin configuration
We'll
portion of their
listen to NASA here
timeline,
for a
though
second.
they have been working that already, as well as potentially during their post-sleep period this morning. The official lunar flyby observations are slated to begin in just about 40 minutes.
So 40 minutes from now,
That's when we'll have the crew at the windows photographing the moon, as well as
observations will
making
begin.
calls down about what they are seeing.
With them.
They're going to start making observations in 40 minutes. I don't think they'll be losing radio contact in because it sounds like they're going to make their observations and radio
Again,
it
we are
down.
live here in Artemis Mission Control for the duration of the flyby. Currently, the Orbit 1 flight control team is on console. This room is staffed 24/7 from the time before the astronauts step foot on the rocket until the time they splash down and are safely recovered in the Pacific Ocean on flight day 10.
Looking up and down at Earth. Wow. Yes. The temperatures are quite drastic on the moon. In the sunlight,
What does the
moon temperature
Well-
soar to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. And then almost the exact opposite on the dark side of the moon, no sunlight, drops to 208, negative 208 Fahrenheit in the darkness of the moon.
so what does space smells like?
Do what?
I looked up what space smells like. People said it smells like burning metal and welding.
Oh, I bet there's a lot of that, probably ozone type up in the space. You don't want to ever smell space though, because that means space has no oxygen, has no. Be like opening your suit and diving.
And what
Again,
people
this
said
is
it smells
Artemis
like
Mission
that
Control
burning
here
metal and
in
that stuff.
Houston.
Does that make sense?
We are now
Yeah.
11,777 miles away from the moon. We did pass the Apollo 13 record of farthest humans away from Earth at 12:57 p.m. Central Time, 1:57 p.m. Eastern Time.
That is
That
awesome.
distance, 248,655 statute miles from the Earth, continuing to be exceeded
Was
by
it closer
the
to
crew.
Earth when they
They
went?
will reach their farthest distance from the Earth
Huh?
around 6:07 p.m. Central Time. At that time, they will be in an LOS, or a loss of signal, with us on Earth, as they'll be flying behind the moon.
So it looks like it's still going to take a little bit for them to get to the moon. I didn't realize this. 6:07. I think they said 6:07 Central Time. Oh, look at that picture. I think that's like graphic. That's a graphic. So there you see on the bottom right hand of the screen, they're going 1,076 miles an hour. They're 248,955 miles from Earth. To the moon, they've got 11,728 miles. So they're booking right along at 1,000 miles an hour. Imagine going that fast. So that's just a graphic. That's just a graphic of the spaceship. It's not the actual video that NASA was shown from outside the craft. But that's pretty neat that they put that up there. Visual, yeah, it even says a visualization up on there. And you can see those numbers, the to the moon getting less.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a whole afternoon thing, and we do appreciate NASA providing the coverage for the lunar flyby. I'll tell you what, space is an amazing thing. Looking up and seeing all those stars. I changed the section of
As the crew gets into their cabin
listen to
configuration
NASA.
preparations, we are joined by Dr. Sarah Noble, the Artemis Lunar Science Lead. Thanks
Well,
for
let's
joining us
listen
here
in
today.
here.
Yeah, it's quite a day.
Yeah, we are very excited. I can only imagine how you guys are doing over there. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what your role is for Artemis 2.
Sure. So I'm the Artemis Lunar Science Lead, so over the entire campaign, and my job is basically to make sure that as we have this big adventure back to the moon, we actually learn new things about the moon.
Fascinating. So why is the moon such an important destination today?
Yeah, so the moon is a pretty amazing place. It is a great place to learn about basic fundamental processes that happen on like all the planets, like cratering and volcanology. And also it is, part of our Earth-Moon system. And, the Earth recycles its rocks pretty well, right, through plate tectonics and weathering and whatever. Most of the rocks on the Earth are geologically young. But on the moon, we have the entire record that goes back 4.5 billion years since we formed. And so if we really want to learn about what was happening in that period, like the moon is really the only place we can go.
We're also thinking about going back to the moon, and we want to go to the lunar South Pole. So what makes that such an interesting destination?
Yeah, the South Pole is cool, right? It's far away from the places we went during Apollo. It's different kinds of rocks there, some of the oldest rocks on the moon. It's also a place where we think there might be resources like water. There are craters that really never can see the sun because of the low sun angles there, and they get very cold. And we think that water and other things can build up in those craters, and so we're very interested to see what that might do for us.
I'm very interested as well. So for some of our viewers who might be new to this, what does lunar science look like during an Artemis mission?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting for us as we have really sort of built this from scratch to try to understand how we can best use the crew to support our science. And so, we've developed a system. We've got a team in place. We've got a back room here in this building called the SIR, the Science Evaluation Room. And there's in fact a back room to that back room over in another building here at Johnson Space Center where we've got our teams of scientists working really hard. They're actually speaking to this room through our science officer. This is now the first time we've ever had a science officer in flight control room. So we're pretty excited about that. So we have a really voice out and up to the crew.
I know, it's been so exciting to hear Dr. Kelsey Young speaking directly with the crew today, now so close to the moon. And we have a live view here of the science operation or the science evaluation room. So this is where the majority of your team is today. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. This is a big chunk of our scientists. You can see them in there now working hard, trying to get ready for the day. And then again, there's a second room where we have a lot of our data folks where the data will first come down and they'll sort of sift through the data and get it ready for this team to take.
What's the mood like right now in the SIR?
It is, I would say, giddy. I think we've worked very hard for this. They have done simulation after simulation. They have worked really hard over the last couple of years to get ready for this moment. And I think everybody's just really excited to see. Even already we've had some descriptions from the crew coming down, and it's so great to see their joy and our joy, our love for the moon come through.
Yes, we are in for a real treat today if it's been anything like their observations the past couple of days. So how are the lunar science teams using this test flight to prepare for future missions to the moon?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the way that we are building our foundation for the future, from everything from, how do you train a crew to be a geologist, right? And so, working through that, getting them classroom training, field training, building the science team, building these physical rooms that we are in, designing them, designing the software that the teams are using, and then, figuring out what happens to that data. They're going to take this data and it's going to come down, and how do we get it out to not only our team, but out to the world and the rest of the science community?
Yeah, that's a great point, because when you hear these crew members talk, you would never know that they're not geologists. Your team has trained them so well.
They have been very good students.
Who can blame them? It's a pretty great topic. One more question for you. How does the science that we're doing on Artemis help support long-term exploration and including our sustained presence on the moon?
Yeah, you know what? We have a saying in the Science Mission Directorate that science enables exploration and exploration enables science, right? So you need the scientists, because we are the ones who are the experts in, landing site and doing analysis of landing site and making sure we can find a good place to land, to understanding the properties of the soil so we can, design our systems to manage that, understanding the radiation environment, keeping our astronauts safe, all of these things, right? But, in return, you provide us with opportunities where now we're going to be able to collect this data and collect samples and deploy our instruments and all of that. So it's a symbiotic relationship.
That makes perfect sense. Well, Dr. Sarah Noble, Artemis Lunar Science Lead, thank you so much for joining us here today. Best of luck to you and your team, and I hope that you get to enjoy today too.
Thank you so much.
That was very interesting.
We are now getting closer and closer to our lunar neighbor. This live view coming from the Orion spacecraft and a camera mounted on one of its solar array wings.
So yeah, they're getting ready to take a lot of pictures of the moon here in a little bit. They will be doing, and all that data, as you heard, will be going down to the science lab, so to speak, where they'll sift through all the data and give it to the scientists. They'll be taking a lot of pictures.
Look how darker the moon getting.
Yeah, it is.
It'll be on the side of it.
They'll go on the back side of it, yeah. But I think as the closer they'll start taking some good photographs. I don't know if NASA will show it, so we'll find out. I'm gonna go grab my soda, Brennan. All right, we're back.
Maybe you should put yourself over the moon.
Put my camera over the moon.
Yeah, smile. Really quick.
Now it's changed.
Yeah, I guess.
I like that. I like the graphic they brought up. And I don't know.
Houston, integrity for camera serial numbers.
They're going to do camera serial numbers. That way they can keep track of which camera sending the picture.
Okay, move your camera in front of it and smile.
Hey, Jenny, these are card
I don't
numbers
allow you to
for
do that.
the various positions. For the long lens on the D5, we will have individual cards. Victor's 1008, Jeremy
Okay, smile.
1019, Reed 1012,
No, keep smiling.
myself 1015.
Why? What are you doing?
For the Z9, we will have one card that is dedicated for today. serial number 1007. For the cabin camera D5, we will have one dedicated.
I'll just
caller
hang out here
today,
in space,
serial number
below my banner, up above my banner.
22.
So what they're doing is reading off serial numbers from the cameras.
Christina, we copy all. Thank you.
They read off serial numbers from the cameras. That way they know which camera they're getting information from as it's being sent down back to Earth.
We just realized that we have Earth out window 1 and Moon out window 2. And I'm sorry, Earth out window 4 and Moon out window 3. And it gives you the best idea of scale we have had yet. The Moon
We got some
is
breaking
about
news,
3 to
everybody.
4 times the size of the Earth. and
From
it
the,
is almost full.
what do you call it, the space stations?
Small
Right?
craft out there.
NASA. Breaking news from NASA.
Magnificent. I got a picture of it with the wide lens.
I sent you a photo.
A majestic view out here.
On my phone.
Amaze, amaze, amaze. Thank you, Reed.
So I wish they would show that picture. That would be a neat little picture to see.
You see my picture I sent you?
Where'd you send it?
Show everybody on YouTube.
Those are
Where'd
some
you
of the
send it?
communications we're excited most about
Discord.
today. Commander Reed Wiseman calling down their view right now. Obviously a little bit different than what we can see from the solar array camera. They are looking through the windows of the Orion spacecraft, able to see at the same time Earth and the Moon.
So Brendan wants me to show you a picture real
astronaut
quick.
Christina Cook calling down some of the cameras that they will be using today. The crew is in that cabin configuration portion, and we expect
There's the
lunar
screenshot Brendan
flyby
sent me on the
observation
moon.
period to start
Oh, Brennan.
just about 20 minutes.
Look like this Molly at the crew, right?
Yep. So, I don't know. Let's see. Let's kind of go there. All right.
Checking in on Orion's
we're
distance
live.
and speed. They are currently traveling 1,071 miles per hour,
Oh, look at that.
249,159 miles away from Earth, 11,293
Put it on your
miles
Facebook.
away from the Moon, and
Big
continuing
profile
to grow
picture.
closer. At closest approach to the Moon today, the spacecraft will be just about 4,070 miles away from the lunar surface. This will be during our loss of signal with the crew as they travel behind the Moon, and we will await their return to get the official number for you for how close they come to our lunar neighbor.
You look like you'd like the moon. You're smiling at the Earth, right?
Yeah.
Inside the cabin today, the lunar targeting package is the primary tool guiding the crew observations and consists of two key components. The lunar geography review helped the astronauts study major lunar features in advance and help learn how to orient themselves during the flyby. Because, of course, the Moon
Here's
is
some
not
interesting
actually
information that
labeled
they're
like
talking
it
about.
appears here when we look at this map. The lunar targeting plan provides a detailed timeline of observation targets, background science context, and specific instructions for the pictures the crew should take, as well as the verbal descriptions that will be helpful to the science team reviewing them later. This is a screenshot from their lunar targeting package and a screenshot specifically of that lunar.
Integrity for attitude.
Go ahead.
attitude now for the lunar flyby. Would it be possible to pitch the vehicle down 5 degrees? That would allow us to get the D5 long lens flush and have the least amount of window distortion.
We're checking.
That call
So
from
they just
Christina
asked.
Cook, NASA astronaut and mission specialist on Artemis 2.
Copy.
What are they doing?
The Orion
Hold on,
spacecraft
let's
is
see.
positioned in a specific attitude to allow the crew to best see the moon outside of their windows today for this imaging opportunity. That call was a request for a potential attitude shift just slightly, another 5 degrees, to give them a better view and to give them a better opportunity to use their long lens camera.
There you go. So they're wanting to change the position as
They'll
it's
also
coming
be using
in.
that lunar targeting package we were discussing. I am following along with that real time, so I'll be able to share with you exactly what targets the crew is looking at and when. They also trained with a lunar science passport. It's a little reference guide used on Earth to reinforce recognition of key lunar features. It is not on
the
the
web
flight,
pools
but it
too,
was
where
a
you zoom in to
significant
the
study
video.
tool for the crew
Mm-hmm.
to get them
If you're on
ready
the
for
phone.
launch. The apparent size of the moon will change throughout the flyby, and it'll appear roughly like a basketball held at arm's length at the crew's closest approach. That reinforces the need for careful planning and practiced observation techniques.
Very interesting. Let's let me keep it here. Let me pull up another window. Let me go here, NASA. Track Artemis 2. So is this a live one?
For timeline.
Go ahead.
602 5000. This is not a live shot there. So we're trying to track Artemis 2
Hey
here.
Jenny, just to make
I don't know if this
absolutely sure that we
moves
start observations when expected, we are showing
Is
an
the
Optimus
is the
that
numbers
observation
moving?
because they're only going
time
1,000
starts in
miles an
about
hour. So
15
that's.
minutes, and an LTP that our first
I was
target,
looking
discussion 1, starts in about 29
for like
minutes.
more of a live
Can
one.
you confirm you'd like us to start discussion 1 in 29 minutes at 1900 GMT?
All right, Hodge. Thank you. I'm trying to find like a little graphic
Christina, we
here, a
are
live graphic.
tracking that discussion 1 should start at 18:45. That's 15 minutes from now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. More about my campaign. Track Artemis. NASA's Track Artemis. There we go.
Okay, copy all. It may be a granularity issue.
So
with
we might be able to put
LTP,
this up on our
but
screen too. So
understand
let's
that
see what we
start
got
that
going
observation
on.
in 15 minutes, and I bet when we get there, the green line in LTP will match the start of the white band for discussion 1. I think it's just a matter of the labeling and the granularity. Thanks for confirming.
Copy, and we'll look into that a little bit more on our side as well.
So let's minimize this.
Christina, can you verify for us that your green line is moving on the timeline page of your LTP?
Want this separated.
Confirm.
Bring this up full screen.
Jenny,
Yeah.
I do think we're good. Looking closer, I see the labels are just not aligned with start or end times of the white visible bands. It fully makes
Where'd my image go?
sense now, so I think we are all set. We'll look forward to starting some observations in about 13 minutes.
I think.
Copy. Thanks,
'Cause I
Christina.
want to bring that other graphic up. So I need to pull it to a different screen. And then bring it over. So let me go here. Here. NASA. Track Artemis 2. Track Artemis. pull this over here temporarily. Make this full screen. There we go. Now we're going to track Artemis here in a second because we'll have the graphic. We'll put this graphic up. Uh-oh. I don't know if anybody can read that or not.
Is your swing buffering?
No. That little graphic's not going to work. I wanted to be able to do this. I don't know. Can you see that? You can't see that, can you?
No, just shut it down. Just turn it off.
Because I wanted to. Oh, their stream is buffering. So let's make sure we're live. Go live.
If we roll
There we go.
left
We're back live
towards
again.
5 degrees, that would get the moon closer to the left side of window 2.
Copy, Victor. We'd like to know if it's pitch and roll or one or the other.
So they're still trying to decide how they're going to get the best view for the spacecraft to get in position to take some pictures of the moon.
Jenny, we actually thought you already put the pitch in. Had the pitch been put in already?
No, we need a little while longer to talk about it.
I'm wondering, Brennan, if that's why they're discussing the pitch down on Earth. Will that affect the flyby,
So, Jenny, I guess what's
the
happening
slingshot?
is just as our orbit's changing, where it is in the window is changing, so maybe these fancy little adjustments aren't worth it. It's going to continue to move in the window. Or is the spacecraft going to keep the moon at the same point of the window if we adjust the attitude? I assume the previous.
Oh, so they're trying to make sure it stays in the right. The spacecraft is constantly moving, so it's going to change in the window, I guess.
Right now, we are pointing the center of the window to the center of the moon with 2 degrees of deadband.
I don't want him to end up in Mars territory, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, and there's all to Saturn, and take pictures of Saturn.
Yeah. Again, you're watching NASA's coverage of the Artemis 2 flyby of the moon.
They probably run out of fuel.
The conversation you hear happening now between the astronauts aboard Orion and Artemis Mission Control here at Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. They are in the center of your screen, seated at the CAPCOM, or Capsule Communicator Console. That's Jenny Gibbons, Canadian Space Agency astronaut and Artemis 2 backup. She was also the lead Capcom for Expedition 63 aboard the International Space Station.
Oh, they said you got to use the website to capture the swing.
What?
So they said you got to use the
The
website.
crew is requesting some attitude changes
I'm
to the spacecraft to allow them to better image the moon, our priority for today. Allow them to better image the moon, our priority for today. Of course, those have to be discussed on the ground before they are put into work aboard the spacecraft, so the team is taking some time to do so. You also heard Gibbons reference that we are in to dead bands. Dead bands are essentially keeping us in the lane in which we're traveling. If you're familiar with lane assist in your car, very similar in this case. We are now 10,870 miles away from the moon. Traveling
I hear you
1,066
typing,
miles
actually.
per hour and 249,390 miles away from Earth. Again, we recently surpassed the Apollo 13 distance record of farthest humans have ever traveled. And upon calling down some words during that milestone, Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen noting that he hopes that this record that they are setting today is soon broken by future explorers.
There we go. That should have changed on your screen, right? Did you see me moving that around and typing?
I hear your microphone's picking up your keyboard for your screen.
Tick, 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 tick.
I think it's your new keyboard. Right?
Oh, I love that keyboard. So preparing to take pictures of the moon. Artemis 2 flyby of the moon. Preparing to take pictures. So I really want to make a video, some type of video on that snack crate, on just like a public service announcement.
I did find out it was a scam.
Well, they make you stay in this program for a whole year. So I think it says she can't cancel because it's already been canceled. So she thinks it's just 2 more months. If they keep charging her after June, then all heck's going to break loose. But it's not really a very good. Like if you started it, you'd have to stay in the program until you cancel, but it's hard to cancel. They've had so many people.
This is Artemis Mission Control. We
that
are standing by for the beginning
cancel.
of Lunar Flyby. Expecting that to start in just a few minutes when the crew will begin a warm-up discussion preparing for the day. They will be capturing images along while discussing what they find familiar about the moon and what looks unexpected to them.
If they charge you in July and August?
Oh, I'm getting a lawyer.
Yeah. Again, you're watching NASA's live coverage of the Artemis 2 mission flyby of the moon. They're getting ready to take pictures. And I will be right back.
Again, just minutes away from the official start of Lunar Flyby, or when it is timelined for the crew. We are currently 10,726 miles away from the moon. This view on the left side of your screen coming from the camera on one of Orion's solar arrays. Other conversation points while the crew are getting ready for their flyby today. They'll be looking to orient themselves using major landmarks and annotating their observations along with their discussion.
Anything new,
They'll
Brennan?
have 10 minutes for that warm-up
Not much.
discussion.
Oh, they're going to have a discussion about changing pitch, I believe. Oh, okay. All right, Brennan, any questions about the moon?
No.
About space in general? We could ask AI to help us with.
Houston integrity. We have two folks at the window deep in discussion talking about all of the awesome features that they're seeing. We just had a huge moment realizing that Hertzsprung is about the same size as our incredible Oriental. We're really excited about this target that's kind of new to us. We're orienting on things like how we talk about albedo, finding some of the prevalent things that we're used to from all of our training, and just overall taking in this view. We also are noticing that the moon is still getting noticeably bigger as we go, even when you're watching it continuously. It's great to see these two guys get warmed up.
We love the report, Christina. Thanks. And you nailed it on why we added Hertzsprung. As you'll see in the prompts, we're looking for comparisons to the comparatively much older Hertzsprung compared to the younger Oriental.
So, this is a 10-day mission.
This is Artemis Mission Control. That was the voice
We'll
of Dr. Kelsey
listen in here.
Young speaking with the astronauts aboard Orion as they begin their observation period and lunar flyby. NASA astronaut Christina Cook reporting their view of Hertzsprung Basin. The team here is looking for centered images of the basin at a full zoom, and they're hoping that the astronauts can image and describe the inner and outer rings. This is considered a degraded basin with a floor, rings, and ejecta compared to a younger Oriental basin.
So again, the Artemis crew is on a 10-day mission. It is scheduled to return. We'll listen in here. See if she says anything.
We spoke earlier with Julian Gross, the Artemis curation lead, about some of the terms we will hear the crew use today. One of those just called out, that's albedo, looking at surface brightness, or the amount of light a surface reflects.
Very interesting. So albedo is the surface brightness. The Artemis 2 crew is scheduled to return to Earth and splash down in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego. So it's going to be over off California coast, Friday, April 10th, 2026. The 10-day mission, which
A few
launched.
more terms that we hope to hear today during the crew's sit reps or situation reports include embaying. This refers to one feature that surrounds another that usually is a higher relief feature.
Houston Integrity, one report from the crew at the windows. We can actually see the moon and Earth at the same time right now. It's interesting because the Earth looks way brighter, so the Earth itself seems to have a much higher albedo than the moon. We think this is independent of our eyes focusing because, of course, the Earth is much smaller than the moon in our view. So you could think that your eyes focus for the darker sky, and that it means that it only has apparent brightness more than the moon. But since we're seeing both in the same view, we do think that this can be inferred as the Earth as a whole has a higher albedo.
So they're thinking the Earth has a higher brightness.
Great observation, Christina, and reminder that as you're starting to look for those subtle color and albedo variations on the moon,
they can see both the Earth and the moon at the same time, but I don't think we'll see pictures of it.
Might make those a little bit difficult, but as your eyes continue to adjust, we expect you to start to see more nuance on the moon. Thanks.
I think it's going to be neat when they do get on the other side of the moon that they'll see the Earth. And they'll probably have cameras
We're all going to be
Earth.
experts in lunar terminology by the end of the day. Another one we expect to hear is mare. These are dark regions paved or filled by volcanic deposits. You also can hear them called seas, oceans, lakes, or marshes, or other bodies of water.
So, the 10-day mission.
Again, we are live in Artemis Mission Control, but on the right side of your screen, that is the Science Evaluation Room. Team members who have been preparing for this day for years. The crew has significantly darkened the cabin of Orion. This allows them better views outside the windows and fewer reflections from inside. They reported being able to see the moon and the Earth out the same window at this time. We are really hopeful to get those photos. Right now, this view on the left side of your screen coming from a camera mounted on one of the solar array wings on Orion outside the spacecraft. The crew is equipped with 80 to 400 millimeter zoom lenses.
So again, they're going to splash down Friday, April 10th. And the capsule that they will be in is the Orion capsule. It'll be the first crewed lunar mission in over 50 years. The crew will be retrieved by the U.S. Navy personnel and taken to the USS John P. Murtha on the Pacific Ocean. Here's another interesting fact, Brennan. You know, with this successful mission, it says following the success of this mission, NASA does have plans to launch Artemis 3, which aims to land astronauts on the lunar surface no earlier
The team continues
than
their warm-up
2027.
discussion. I should say the crew members aboard Orion continue their warm-up discussion. However, they are about to be prompted to move on to discussion number 2, which is near side and far side. Some of the things that they are looking to capture, the ground has prompted them to photograph anything that stands out to them and to compare the near side versus the far side mare in color, albedo, topography, and texture. They also want the crew to compare the appearance of rayed craters in the near side mare versus in the far side highlands. Of course, a reminder that some of the items that the crew, or some of the landmarks the crew are seeing today, is the first time that humans have ever laid eyes on those portions of the moon.
So the mare is the dark regions, I think they said, with the volcanic. Volcanic, they said those were the dark regions.
In the targeting package, there are a few reminders of the crew. For the crew, there are time-sensitive observation reminders and science sit rep reminders.
Integrity. We have a sit rep. The targets that are being discussed right now, it's the far side, near side comparison, and hearing some great discussion of browns and greens in the Aristarchus Plateau and how those disappear as you go toward the North Pole, and then over to the far side, you lose the color. You've got Jeremy in window 2, Reed in window 1, having a great discussion. Christina's under window, I'm sorry, Reed is in window 3. Christina's under window 1, documenting the discussion. And we've got the lights completely off in the cabin. There are some LEDs that we cannot put out that do provide some light scatter. But we have all of the internal lights off. And are letting our eyes adjust as best we can. The window 4 view, you only get about a third of the moon. Tycho is going to go over the horizon soon, and you can see Aristarchus, and then you start to lose the view as you go to the west in Oceanus and Procellarum. So far, the team is on the plan, and the long lens is being put to good use, and recordings are being made, and internal documentation of the configuration and the observations is ongoing. Science, do you have any questions for us at this time?
Integrity Science. Victor, very glad that you provided the first formal science sit rep, as these were indeed your idea. One follow-up question, any relationship between those browns and greens you described? Do you see them blending into one another, and do you see any topography associated with either color?
I don't want to bother the window team. I just heard that, overheard that, and so I'm sorry I don't have that detail yet. I will eavesdrop and see if I can pick that up. I will try to answer that at some point. I also heard a comparison of the albedo in Aristarchus, that crater, the very high albedo spot you can see on the near side. There is a feature called, I believe, Burgess Alpha, that is equally or maybe higher albedo. I apologize for the gaps. I'm trying to listen and talk at the same time, but I will try to get some more information to correlate those colors from Aristarchus for you.
Understood, Victor, and good call to not bug the window team. Really like the brightness comparisons to Burgess A. Really helpful for the science team. Keep them coming. Thanks.
So as NASA said, you're going to be hearing a lot of moon terms, about brightness, technical terms.
Discussion about the albedo of Grimaldi being a 10.
Is this the side of the moon we've never seen before?
Yes, this is the side we've never seen before.
What side do we usually see?
Side we see every day when we're down here on Earth.
Still dark, but maybe a 7-8. We still think that, but you are seeing color variation, albedo variation inside of Grimaldi as well. And
Are they on the side of the moon right now?
A very dark part of it.
Yes,
but it is
they're going in. Yeah.
It's just not as uniform as
they're moving closer.
Farther away. We're starting to differentiate the striations of albedo inside of Grimaldi.
Are they moving closer to her?
Yes, they are.
Copy all, Victor, and you read our mind. Superlatives like dark.
So this side of the moon's
really,
not facing
really
towards Earth, right?
So keep those coming.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yep.
As we were just mentioning, the crew is slated to perform these science sit reps. They are prompted to do so by an icon in their lunar targeting plan. That one coming down from NASA astronaut and pilot of Artemis 2, Victor Glover. As we discussed, the Capcom is usually the only person in the room speaking with the crew, the capsule communicator. However, today, the science officer, Dr. Kelsey Young, she is the Artemis Science Flight Operations Lead, is speaking with the crew during the flyby to ask any questions that the team may have. To her right is Trevor Graff. He is one of 3 science officers. Those would be Kelsey Young, Trevor Graff, and Angela Garcia, who will also join us later for an interview.
I like that. I wish I would put that graphic back again. So many miles on
And
this.
using integrity, was able to, science, integrity, I was able to get a view out of window 1, which is a beautiful view. I can see the entire moon that they're looking at. We left the T-shirt up there, so I was kind of peeking through the opening in the makeshift shroud there. And once I was able to get 2 eyes on it, what jumped out at me was Vavilov. It's just peeking out of the Terminator. It's clear of the Terminator now, but it just really jumps out because it's still got the low light, the low sun angle. And so where the, Vavilov has that impact over the top of another crater, where the 2 craters intersect on the eastern edge. So on the side closest to Oriental, where the 2 crater rings intersect, the shadow there is the highest peak in the interior of Vavilov, and so you can see that terrain is, there's some real variation in the terrain there, that there's a nice peak where those peaks intersect, where those rings intersect, and we'll get a picture of that.
Love the description, Victor, especially the comparison and relationships you just described about topography. And if it's easier for your observations, do feel free to remove the T-shirt shroud from window 1.
Absolutely, we will do. Thank you.
I'm not sure what those numbers mean. It's another graphic NASA's put up on the screen.
Those calls coming from NASA astronaut Victor Glover. As we discussed, the crew is working in pairs at the windows. Right now, taking photos are Commander Reed Wiseman and Mission Specialist Jeremy Hansen. Serving as their support team are pilot Victor Glover and Mission Specialist Christina Cook. You're hearing those calls from Victor Glover as he is on that support team, and he is tasked with providing the science sit reps, while the 2 crew photographing and making annotations of the moon are in windows 2 and 3. Windows 1 and 4 are available for the support crew to fly up to, obviously look at the moon themselves, and provide these science situational reports. The view on your screen is part of the lunar targeting package, and it's something that the crew can reference as they are flying by. But this is an animation.
Oh, yep. And it's an animation. So those are targets.
You also heard Glover mention Oriental. Oriental is a major feature that the team is interested in today, and it's known as the Grand Canyon of the Moon. Until this mission, the Oriental Basin had never been seen in sunlight by human eyes. Oriental Basin and its surrounding ejecta could fit within a straight line distance from NASA's Johnson Space Center, where we are at today, to Kennedy Space Center.
Oriental. I wonder if that's that dark basin. It's on the moon.
This a live view in Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas, where the teams are monitoring all systems, not just for today's flyby, but on the spacecraft themselves. Again, this is a test flight, our very first flight of humans on the Orion spacecraft. This team has been live, this team has been monitoring the entire time of the mission, as well as we have been live the entirety of the mission, and we will be continuing to do so all the way through splashdown and crew recovery from the Pacific. This is a visualization from ARROW, the Artemis real-time orbit website that you can also access at any time by visiting nasa.gov/track-Artemis.
9,000 miles to the moon.
10,000 miles from the moon.
Getting closer.
9,948 to be
Under
specific.
10,000.
And continuing to count
9,946. And we're 249,856 from
Again, our closest
Earth.
approach to the moon today should come about 6:02
getting
p.m.
closer
Central,
to the
7:02
moon.
p.m.
Yep, coming in at
Eastern.
1,054
However,
miles an hour.
we will be out of contact with the crew at this time as they begin transiting behind the moon. At that time of closest approach, the distance from Orion to the lunar surface will be about 4,070 miles. Of course,
the video will be cut off
this time, and we'll be sure to provide you with the official numbers once that closest approach has been reached.
I don't know if I can make another display.
This shot live inside the Orion spacecraft, where our 4 crew members are continuing with their lunar flyby activities. They have just begun those activities really about 20 minutes ago.
Look how dark it is.
Several hours of moon view opportunities. This is still a live view inside that capsule. However, you can see just how dark they have turned down the lights. Actually, they've turned them all the way off. There are a few LEDs that they cannot power off, but turning down these lights gives them better views outside of the spacecraft's windows while they photograph the moon. This also prevents any reflections from inside the spacecraft bouncing up on the windows and interfering with their photography.
That's interesting. Too bad they can't take the camera inside and poke it out the window so you can see the Earth. And that'd be kind of neat.
As we were previously discussing, the crew members are serving on teams, the first team being Commander Reed Wiseman and Mission Specialist Jeremy Hansen at the windows photographing what they see. We heard reports earlier that they could see both the moon and the Earth in the same view, and we are looking forward to seeing the moon and the Earth in the same view as well.
That's
that
display.
Earth set coming up in just a few hours.
What are you trying to do?
Wiseman and Hansen are at the windows.
What am I showing?
Glover and Cook are serving as support crew. They are able to assist with cameras. They are also providing those situation reports, letting us know how the team is working inside the spacecraft, what they're seeing, and how they're feeling about it.
All right. And if I do this.
Those first blocks of teams will last about an hour, and the crew members are approaching the halfway point into their first observation block. A reminder, we have 5 of those blocks today. So they're approaching this halfway point, during which the crew at the window will switch roles. One will begin taking pictures, and the other will be making annotations on their PCD. That's portable computing device. Both of those crew members at the windows are recording audio of what they see. They are putting headsets and recording audio into their portable computing devices. Obviously, we are not hearing this right now. This is going to be sent down to the science team, and they will be able to analyze that at a later time.
Going back and forth between that graphic, but
What we are hearing, though, and will continue to hear, are those science sit reps a few times every block. Once this block is complete, about 40 minutes from now, we will have the teams switch. That means pilot Victor Glover and...
Science integrity, looking out of window 1. I think I may have misreported earlier saying that it was Tycho going over the horizon. That was Copernicus I was referring to. Apologies. It was Copernicus is what is farthest bounding to the east, and that is now like on the horizon or just past it. And Korolev is now a few degrees from going over the horizon. And then, next it'll be Aristarchus Plateau. And so on the west, we are getting a much better view of the Terminator. It looks like we have about 80% illumination of the moon. And Vavilov and 1 Vavilov diameter to the west is where the Terminator is right now. And so other features are starting to peek out there. The center of the illuminated part of the moon is to the lower part is Oriental, and just around Oriental, a lot of light structure is starting to show up. A lot of high albedo, similar to the feature, I cannot remember, Burgess Alpha and Aristarchus type high albedo in the ring. So when you look at the interior ring and the external ring, it's almost as if the edges are starting to dry up and turn white. If it was something that was wet and got dry, the edges would be the part to dry first. You just kind of outline all the topography in the interior of that wall is like it was dusted with chalk or is starting to dry, or maybe dusted with snow. If this was the Earth, I would say there was snow dumped on some of the ridges on the interior of the rings of Oriental. Also, an interesting part of the discussion that I heard between Reed and Jeremy is that from Glushko to Grimaldi, there are 2 dark features there that look like commas, but in the wrong direction. But there's also a lot of interestingness, just a lot of...
Its outside camera is blurry, but I think it's still fascinating. They probably got a lot better cameras. Maybe NASA will show some pictures.
They probably see the craters better from the cab, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they're using cameras. This is a low-quality camera on the outside ship.
I think it's a 4K camera.
There's a very dark, the 1 albedo, like the southern and western part of Grimaldi, and the one to the north, closer to Glushko, is also that same dark albedo. And then around them, there are some very high albedo spots just to the north of the southern one, and just to the west, the smaller one to the north. Very high albedo, almost approaching the 10, a 9 or a 10, like Aristarchus. And lots of little bright spots are just starting to pop up in this view. To the north, as you look up at the North Pole, there is a very distinct crater with a lot of very defined central peak that is also 3 in albedo, and all of that area past it, going to the horizon, gets lighter and lighter, and is very, very high albedo. And I will go look and find the name of that feature if I can look that up. And then to the south, really getting some interesting geography and topography in the South Pole Aitken Basin. And the view of the South Pole is quite amazing. We've got some Terminator there, as well as the limb view, and there is a very distinct crater right at the South Pole. And I'm going to go look up, I don't believe that is Aiken, but I'm going to go look up the name of that one because it's also giving a lot of good topography due to the shadows that I'm seeing. But that's I was trying to bound the view that I'm seeing for you, and I got distracted by all of these interesting albedo variations that are popping up in the interior. But that's the view that we see. Just a Vavilov diameter to the west beyond is where the Terminator is. just beyond. I think Copernicus is the easternmost feature that we can see. A very nice ringed, very nice structure crater to the north.
The moon is getting
with
bigger.
A great high albedo central uplift to the north, and the south is dotted by a very characteristic crater with a lot of terrain, shadow features, and I will go try to find some landmarks to put names with those. Any questions for the observation team?
Integrity Science, love the descriptions. You're definitely looking odd up there. Appreciate seeing the training being implemented. Especially interested in your descriptions of the dark patches. You compared the comma-looking features to the albedo you see in Grimaldi and notice that you're starting to see those color differences popping out. Any observations you want to make, especially when you get on, the PCD in a little bit, would really help us tease out the differences in those dark Mare deposits. Great description, Victor. Keep them coming.
Absolutely will do, and I know you've got descriptions on both of the window observers right now as well. Keep them coming.
That was interesting, the way he was describing all those features he was talking about. Look how big it is now. The albedo is light. The Marias is the Marie is a darker. I want to thank you to our moderator here, Brennan Gaming, my only moderator. He's my moderator on YouTube.
Great evidence of how well trained this crew is by the science team. NASA astronaut and pilot of the Artemis II mission, Victor Glover, calling down a situation report, noting several different features on the moon and such descriptions, even saying that it looks like snow on some of the peaks. Obviously, we do not expect that to be snow, but referencing that as some of the lighting on how it looks to the Artemis II crew from their current position.
It could be snow.
No. There's no weather on the moon. There's no clouds to create that
The team
weather.
is slated to be switching their positions at the windows now. Both Reed Wiseman and Jeremy Hansen have been at windows 2 and 3, one taking photos, one making observations and annotations on their portable computing device. At this time, we also anticipate that they are looking at a crater duo. One of those is Glushko, and the team is and the other is Ohm. The team is looking to know the extent of Glushko's ray system and how its rays differ in the Mare versus the Highlands. They also want the team to compare the ray systems of Glushko to Ohm.
Now you can see some craters on the top left. Top left up there, we'll put my mouse over it.
Ohm is considered a young
He's already seen craters now.
Right there.
And if you've ever seen a photo of the Rich Hat structure, it's also known as the Eye of the Sahara. It's 40 kilometers in diameter, and that could fit within Ohm's interior. The team is specifically interested in descriptions of that ray visibility, including the color, albedo. Remember, albedo is the brightness or the surface reflection, and the reach. Again, I am using the same lunar targeting package that the crew is referencing on board right now. This helps keep them on time as well as prompt them for when they need to make a call down to the science team and report what they're saying. It also gives them reminders of when they need to swap positions at the windows. Additionally, I'm using the Artemis II Lunar Science Passport developed by Amber Turner and the Artemis II Lunar Science team. Now, this passport did not fly with the crew, but they used it extensively as a study guide here on Earth. So a lot of the descriptions and comparisons you hear today are developed directly by the science team. We are now 4 days, 20 hours, and 43 minutes.
Science, integrity, that crater to the north, that is, it's like we've got one in the north that looks like just a textbook crater, and one on the South Pole as well. The one on the north, I think, is Pythagoras. And what I wanted to highlight about that is it is either a very distinct central uplift or just a very defined area of high albedo. If a majority of the crater, especially the floor of the crater, is, say, an albedo of 5, this center, and gosh, only a tenth of the diameter of Pythagoras is an albedo of 2, maybe 3, but it is very bright and it stands out. And then between that crater and the actual, what is the horizon from here, there seems to be another crater right on the horizon, and right on the edge of that is another patch of that albedo. It seems to be between the two craters. It's hard to tell from this grazing angle, but there is another spot just further north beyond Pythagoras. Between the two, I can draw a picture of this one and show you where that very high albedo, again, another 2 albedo surrounded by 5 and most of the area bounding it.
Integrity science, thanks for that. We agree with the Pythagoras assessment. And as a follow-up to your
a lot of technical terms.
report, the SIR had questions about topography comparisons between the North
see the
Pole
craters
and the
more.
South Pole.
You can see the craters more where you can.
On that.
Yep. Yeah, they can.
Topography comparisons, absolutely. And if you have any idea what, if you draw a line between Pythagoras and the western edge of the outer defined ring of Oriental, it intersects a beautiful textbook crater on the south. I would love to know the name of that. The topography differences, now the South Pole has a little bit of a benefit that it has more of the terminator, and I can see a little more shadowing there, but there's a nice crater right at the South Pole, so that's the main thing defining the topography there. Seems to be quite a bit of elevation change. I can see some very jagged shadows, a 90-degree just to the west of that crater at the South Pole. I can see a very distinct change in the shadow directions, indicating, I don't know, a very high wall or a very deep canyon just to the west of that. And in the north, it seems to be that from sort of the edge of the mare, that
So they're looking at
maybe 1 Pythagoras diameter.
What are they looking at?
They're looking at the craters he's talking about.
Ring about that, maybe the top 7 degrees of the moon, and just draw a ring around that. The near side is an albedo of 5 and looks quite smooth from here. And then along the same edge of the mare, the edge of the mare that kind of Grimaldi's just outside of, Glushko is just outside of, Carroll Crater is just outside of, and you start to see the stark differences between
Moon base in 10
darker
years.
7,
People
8s,
on
and the
Mars in
5s, 6s,
20.
the 4s
Hey,
and
Duke.
5s.
How
If
you doing,
follow
bud?
that line up to the north, that
You
line
wanna
is
join-
also where the change in topography
join our
happens at the North Pole. The line
Nico,
dividing the light and
little
dark,
party?
on
Hey,
Moon-
Nico,
moon
look at
watch
this
party?
board. I sent you a picture of
draw that line roughly the midpoint of all that straight to the North
my
Pole.
dad.
And on the side facing the Earth, you see smoother topography and dotted by Pythagoras and its next door neighbor crater. And then on the far side, you see a lot more cratering and a lot more topography. And again, the far side has the benefit of a little terminator.
So you heard an
I
astronaut,
am seeing a
the astronaut,
variation in the topography. It seems to be more
telling his observations on the moon, what they're looking at. And this here, Matt in the moon, yes. This here you're looking at is the science lab part of it. It's not mission control. So you're going to hear a lot of science people talking. They're actually letting them directly talk to the astronauts instead of Capcom.
Copy all, Victor. You really help paint a contextual picture of what you're looking at. We really appreciate the way that you're guiding
this
us
is a
into
science
the areas you're seeing,
coordinator.
by drawing comparisons between.
They usually, like I
features.
said, they usually have
Thanks for that.
Capcom talking, but they're letting the science coordinators talk because they're wanting to make a lot of observations. They got the capsule totally dark inside the capsule, so there's no light. There's just a few LEDs. But I'm sure they're getting a lot better view than we are. This camera they got on the solar array isn't really doing it justice.
The two observers have been on timeline, no hardware issues. They did start to talk a little bit about another feature that you'll hear more about on the recordings that they call the handprint. That was
Look how close to the moon getting.
and before they moved into their current target, they thought that was worth.
This side of the moon we've never seen before.
They said, what, 6 p.m. they'd be going into blackout? Is that because it's taking a while? I figured they'd be moving faster than that. They're only moving 1,056 miles an hour, I believe. I tried to bring up another screen.
Actually, Houston and Science Integrity, another just
And I don't know if I can do it.
My eyes have shifted a little bit since I've been up here. I've been wearing my reading glasses
We did that.
to look at the PCD.
Do that.
Well, this is a very taxing event on
We
the
did
eyes,
that.
looking out the window and seeing the
We did
very
that.
bright moon, then coming back inside to the dark cabin and trying to work cameras and microphones and logistics and lunch and those kinds of things, and then looking at the PCD, which is dimly lit. It's just been an exercise. It is a difficult thing
So there's a
manage it.
graphic.
I'm up and down on the glasses and then having to wait as my eyes adjust when I come back in. As soon as I look back into the cabin from looking out the window, I can feel my eyes
Kinda
adjusting
cool
and
like
just
that.
have to work through it as they adjust.
There's a little graphic of the moon and how close they are.
Appreciate that report,
They're
Victor, and know that we are prepared to
9,192
read you
miles
targets
from the moon.
ground if that would,
They're going
give you the
1,045
ability to
miles
keep
an
your eyes
hour.
focused on the moon and not having to swap between that and the PCD. Just let us know.
So we'll keep it here for a minute. That's a graphic, of course.
Yeah, we appreciate that science, and we will also do that for the window teams, and we'll back each other up that way as well. But we appreciate that. We may take you up on that. Thanks.
Lapse time 4 days, 20 hours, 51 minutes.
Continued detailed descriptions from the Artemis 2 crew aboard
250,000,
Orion.
240 miles from the
Again, this is a test flight, the first time we've flown humans aboard this spacecraft. So every detail, even that it's difficult to look outside the window and then back at the PCD, that portable computing device, every single detail is appreciated as we prepare for future missions. Glover also mentioned that he is now wearing his glasses now that he's in space and that his eyes have shifted a bit. This is something that happens when our astronauts go to space. There is a fluid shift from the lower half of your body up into your head, and that can cause changes in your eyes. It's something that we have seen over time for some crew members, especially now that we have been living and working on the International Space Station for over 25 years. Again, it's clear that these Artemis 2 astronauts have undergone extensive lunar science training, including classroom instruction, fieldwork, and high-fidelity simulations. Training expeditions even took place in analog environments like the Icelandic Highlands and the Kemasassen impact crater in Labrador, where crews practiced identifying and describing geologic features under varying conditions. Additionally, here at Johnson Space Center, Orion mock-ups were used to rehearse crew choreography, including three-dimensional space management with an inflatable moon globe to simulate the flyby. And while on Earth, the crew also used that small lunar passport that I mentioned with descriptions, photos, and prompts to help them study the features we hope they'll see. Now, this is a
Okay,
view
so
from their lunar targeting package at this
there's
time, helping them
Oriental
determine what they're
Basin, what they're
seeing
looking
on
at.
the moon, as well as on the left,
Apollo
keep up
Basin,
with what their
Jackson
next target will
Crater.
be. As you can see, we have got
And all
a
their
long
targets.
list and an exciting day ahead of us.
So they're only on number 4. That's a cool graphic. The 4. They're in the Duo Crater, which is, where's the Duo Crater at?
It's now been 4 days, 20 hours, and 53 minutes since Orion launched atop the Space Launch System rocket from Kennedy Space Center in Florida with our 4 crew members aboard.
I think they've already did
NASA
the swap.
astronauts Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, and
So that's
Christina
what they
Cook,
have to do.
and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen.
They have several swaps that they do. So
The Artemis
I
2
guess
crew
that's a
passed
dark
major
area of the moon.
milestone
And then they'll go
today
back into
when
sun.
they passed the Apollo 13 distance record at 12:57 p.m. Central, 1:57 p.m. Eastern. That Apollo 13 distance record was 248,655 statute miles from Earth.
And Houston, another observation, whole moon. When you look at the moon, something I've never seen in photographs before, but is very apparent, all the really bright new craters. Some of them are super tiny. Most of them are pretty small. There's a couple that really stand out, obviously. And what it really looks like is like a lampshade with tiny pinprick holes and the light shining through. They are so bright compared to the rest of the moon.
We copy, Christina. Thank you. Looks like you guys might be doing it, but remind you to swap positions at the window and take your SD cards with you. We're loving everything that you're calling down, so keep it up.
Again, you're watching NASA's live coverage of the Moon Flyby, the lunar flyby, on board Artemis 2.
Again, Orion previously surpassed that Artemis, or the Apollo 13 greatest distance from Earth by humans. That was 248,655 statute miles from Earth, and Orion now 250,294 miles away from our home planet. The spacecraft is 9,033 miles away from the moon and growing ever closer. At its closest approach, it'll be about 4,070 miles away, and we will make sure we confirm what that distance ends up being. This is an approximation and an estimate ahead of that moment. We're anticipating them to make that closest approach at 6:02 p.m. Central, 7:02 Eastern, when they are in a loss of signal, transiting behind the moon. They will be the first humans in over 50 years to fly behind the moon and lose contact with Earth.
So
We will regain that contact about 40 minutes later as they reconnect to the Deep Space Network, emerging from behind the moon, and we will look forward to seeing an Earthrise.
They even got a Tchaikovsky crater. That's kind of cool. Moscow
Again, the crew is
Venus
currently in
Basin.
their position swap portion on their timeline.
And I'm assuming that dark area is the dark side of the moon. So visible lunar surface is in a
the opportunity
circle.
and the experience of all roles necessary during today's flyby. Right now, those two crew members at the window have swap positions.
So now it's the Aristochus Plateau. I love that graphic they showed. They want to build solar plants on the sunny side near the equator for maximum sunlight. Is
Again,
that
the crew at the
power of moon
windows
base?
swapping positions. Right now, that crew is Commander Reed Wiseman and Mission Specialist Jeremy
Are you
Hansen,
working, Nuke? Or
while
you
Victor
can
Glover
hop
and
on if you
Christina
want,
Cook
buddy.
serve as their support flyby crew members. That's why you are hearing Victor and Christina during those science situation reports. Those voices will change in about 30 minutes when they take a turn, taking photos and making annotations while at the window.
If Brennan sees you hop in chat, he can pull you down.
Hey, how you doing, Nicker?
How's it going?
Hey, and we got our guest scientist, Nuclear Salmon.
Good. We got the moon, Nicker.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is the side of the moon we never seen before.
Yep. It's pretty cool. Me and Brendan just been sitting here watching it and talking. We gave some fun, we gave some fun facts about the moon.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Definitely, it's definitely not. It's not a Steve Lookner stream, is it?
Yeah.
Breaking news! Breaking news! I did thank my moderator though, Brendan Gaming, over on YouTube. Over on YouTube.
So, did the Easter Bunny came to your house, Nicker?
No.
No,
No, the Easter Bunny didn't. They didn't come see your kids.
No Easter Bunny.
No Easter Bunny.
No, we didn't. We didn't do the Easter Bunny.
Houston Integrity. I wanted to provide an observation or a little bit of descriptive nature on something that we saw on the first day we had good moon views. This was when we saw more of the near side.
Hey, Nicker, what you should do, fire up your OBS with your green screen and put your picture and your picture of yourself in front of your, I mean, in front of the moon, you smile and clip it.
It is the most striking feature of the western limb view that we had, and the mountain chains that form its eastern side are very prominent, but they actually stand out more than I'm used to seeing even on the western side, and the whole thing just feels like a big bump. It actually looks like a large healing wound with a high albedo forming the mountain chain around the impact basin. And I just don't think I had enough chance to describe how striking it was on that western limb view as we were coming in a couple days ago.
So the albedo is the light.
Christina, science, absolutely
Light
love that,
reflection
especially
off the
since
moon.
that's a feature that all of us here on Earth can observe from home. So I'm sure tonight everyone's going to be going out
And the
and
Marie
looking for
is like the
evidence
darker
of that beautiful
area.
topography
I think
you just
that's
said.
what they
Thanks for
said.
those words.
Some technical terms that they're using. So are you off today, bud?
Yeah, they're away right now.
Do you ever get bored when you're not working?
Sometimes, yeah.
Ready to get back at and go listen to baseball or be around the atmosphere. I think that'd be kind of cool. I figured the mileage would be counting down a lot faster, but I guess it doesn't. Because it's like another 3 hours till they get in the dark side and lose radio contact. What they say, 6 something? They lose radio contact Central Time. And it's only 2:30 p.m. Yeah. I'm missing my nap, baby. Missing my nap because of the moon coverage. I don't think I'm going to stay live that whole time. I might hand off my news to Nuclear or something. Let him do some live news.
Well, maybe go live later.
The view on your screen coming from Orion.
Hand it off to
mounted
Brennan.
On the spacecraft's solar array wing. Toward the right of your screen, the near side is the hemisphere we see from Earth. That is identifiable by those dark splotches, which are ancient lava flows.
Very cool.
A question and a comment. Question is it possible that we're seeing a Schrodinger basin from this vantage point in the Terminator at the South Pole? And the comment is the rays coming out of Ohm are less distinct. We are not seeing
okay, you drive safely, sweetie.
coming out of it, but the sort of 9 o'clock wedge that is formed by the change in albedo from the interior portion that is to the northeast to the surrounding lighter mare that's 270 degrees to the west. That 90 is very distinct and interior. You got some great descriptions from the two at the window about the colors in there, but in that darker part, in that wedge, you've got some really interesting color, even though the rays, the distinct difference in the albedo almost look like rays, but it's not the rays coming out. It's the just change in that albedo.
Integrity Science, that is very intriguing. Those color rays coming out of Ohm rather than sort of albedo. And as answer to your question, we do not think you can see Schrodinger. It's in darkness as of now. But thanks for that Ohm description, and it sounds like the pair at the window's got great descriptions that we're definitely going to dive into tonight.
That'd be cool if they could show some live pictures from inside the craft.
If you could help me, I would still love to know what it is they're saying.
I'm surprised they haven't showed any of that.
Well, they got that outside. They got that outside camera, but that's of a lower quality camera. That what they're using inside the craft. They're using some pretty high powerful zoom lenses and stuff.
Yeah, Victor, we're assuming you're talking
Yeah, I'm sure they got
kind of if you're
some that they can't live stream.
It's basically like 70% down.
It'd be kind of cool if maybe even they would just share some pictures with people who put this on the national channel. That way they can kind of show
Because
fresh
they got
pictures.
they got the lights and the fan turned off.
And they turned off the lights in the cabin. I think the only thing is that there's some
Houston,
LEDs that they can't turn off.
For wastewater dump required, we have hit our limit. As expected, no crew action.
Wastewater dump, just flush it out into space. Just don't stir the cryos. It's bad.
Make all the assholes go one way, huh?
Just don't stir the cryo tanks.
Science, we're trying to figure out what you're looking at there. Is it like right on the Terminator, or is it in the eliminated portion next to the Terminator?
What is the Terminator on the moon?
Terminator, Nicker.
Okay, the Terminator. Lunar Terminator is a moving, sharp dividing line between the sunlit day side and the dark night side of the moon. As a boundary between the sunrise or sunset on the lunar surface. It represents the best time.
While we wait for a response from the crew, the Terminator is that difference between day and night, or brightness and darkness that you see on the moon. We see this from the International Space Station as well, looking down at Earth.
And Science from Integrity, excuse my space orientation adaptation. If you draw a line between Glushko through the center of Oriental, and then another line from Glushko through the southern tangent of Oriental, that line would almost perfectly intersect tangentially the crater that I'm talking about, and it is on the Terminator. So yeah, I think I'm not looking at the South Pole. I was a little twisted.
That would be kind of cool, because I haven't seen anything like that.
That line description was really
Did
helpful.
they lost contact?
I have eyes on the SIR right now,
No.
and they are actively discussing lunar geography. We will be back with you shortly.
They didn't. They don't lose contact till 6 something. So yeah, so as I was reading that, NASA explained that what the Terminator was. It's where the dark meets the
You're hearing a couple
light
voices today in Mission Control Houston. One of those is Dr. Kelsey Young.
Integrity Science, we believe that's Zeeman Crater.
Throw like out for this gentleman, please. Throw like out for this gentleman.
Oh, I floated away from the speaker. Say it again, please.
Oh, I want to thank you to my moderators, Brennan Gaming and Vanessa, over on the YouTube side of things. And I don't have a Facebook side, so I can't thank anybody there, and I don't have a Twitch side.
Zeeman, okay.
I guess I need to make Nuke a moderator,
maybe pronounced
right?
that wrong. What's the first letter of that word?
Zulu.
If you want to.
I didn't realize that you got one. Let's see.
we've got a great view of that. And when I went back to the window just now, the view has completely changed. Our trajectory.
And thank you to Nuclear Salmon,
to a new view, and I'm looking more into Babylon.
who's now a moderator over on the YouTube side of
Away
things.
from the window right now, so I'm going to go try to give you some bounding words on
They're
the view
hard
that
at
we're
work
seeing.
just watching the
I'm
balloon
gonna get
fly
back to
by.
a window in a minute.
That's kind of fun.
Understood,
kind of
Victor. You're
slow,
defining new
but
views of the moon in
fun-ish.
more ways than one.
Trying to throw out some information. As I hear these terms, I'm looking them up.
Again, when you hear calls down to science or from science, that's Dr. Kelsey Young, the Artemis Science Flight Operations Lead here at a console in Mission Control. You also hear communications with the crew from Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jenny Gibbons. She is the Capcom for today. She is a backup Artemis 2 crew member. Those calls from pilot Victor Glover asking about a feature he was seeing, specifically a crater on the moon. Meanwhile, the team here in the science evaluation room was actively working together to determine which feature he was describing. The teams at the window have continued to move through their targets, including Ohm, Aristarchus Plateau, Reiner Gamma, and we are preparing for the cabin and window teams to swap. That's when we'll hear more from Reed Wiseman and Jeremy Hansen when they take on these support roles, while Christina Cook and Victor Glover are at the windows photographing and annotating.
That's kind of cool. Look at all those. They got 30 tasks. So they'll do another cabin window swap.
The right side of the moon, essentially.
7 is the whole moon. Then it's Oriental Basin, 1 of 2. It's kind of neat. They got that schedule of stuff up on the screen. All right, you got $42 to go.
This live view coming from a camera outside the Orion spacecraft. And if you look on the right side of the moon where you see those dark patches.
Wow, yeah, I wish I had some more time to just sit here and describe what I'm seeing, but the Terminator right now is just fantastic. It is the most rugged that I've seen it. From a lighting perspective, there are little islands. There are islands of terrain out there that are completely surrounded by darkness, which indicates some real variation in terrain. Up to the north, there is a very nice double crater. It looks like a snowman sitting there.
Yeah.
You need to make a moon map for Farming Simulator.
He made the moon big on Farming Sim.
And then on the southern edge, there's almost like
just,
a hole.
Make it with sand. And change the color of the sand.
Diameter of Vavilov, size, just blackness, and then a wall of bright, and then it goes back to the black beyond the Terminator. So there's it looks like there's just a gigantic hole right there. 1 Vavilov diameter east of the Terminator, and as you go south, the Terminator is not a nice smooth arc. It's just jagged. There's almost a 110-degree turn in the shadow as opposed to the nice smooth arc, again indicating some really interesting variations, and I'm sure we'll get some photos of that. And then one of the craters further to the south of Vavilov, maybe halfway down to the South Pole, is not only looks like just a deep hole, and then there's like 2 island rays pointing off to the west and north that indicate very high ridges and very deep canyons coming up out of that crater. So again, just some really interesting visual illusions going on with the shadows there. Like I said, there look to be islands out beyond the Terminator, because some of the things, maybe even a Vavilov diameter into the Terminator are catching sunlight on the peaks up to the north and to the south. It's very, very interesting to see.
I'll be back.
Integrity Science, oh my gosh, that was an amazing picture you just painted. I glanced over at the SIR video and I literally saw fist pumps in the air. Those types of observations are things that humans are uniquely able to contribute, and you just really brought us along with you, so thanks for that.
That's awesome, Kelsey. Did you get a sit rep updating you on a slight change in logistics for PCD use?
Christina, this is Houston. We did not, but we will take it now.
We slightly changed the PCD plan for the window observers. The two window observers kept their PCD. So in other words, the one that window 2 went to window 3 and the one at window 3 went to window 2 when they swapped rather than staying at the window. We'll plan on all observers keeping the same PCD for all observations.
Copy, Christina. That makes sense to us, and good plan. We are coming up here on a cabin and window team swap. Let me know when you're ready for a quick vehicle status.
Okay, come on. Lacey's like, it's not going to move.
As you heard, Science.
Go for the vehicle system update.
Howdy, Reed. We don't have much for you. We just wanted to let you know that toilet right now is no-go for use as we stick with the predetermined limit for now. All crew members, please use CCUs. Otherwise, Orion is looking very good. And you have 15 minutes in this handover time where we expect.
So they're still having issues with the toilet.
Christina to switch to the windows, and you and Jeremy to be in the cabin assisting. Let us know if you have any questions.
So they're still having issues with the toilet.
No questions at all, and they're in the swap right now. The first thing I'll tell you, I floated up to the docking hatch window and just. What I'm going to call the Mari around Oriental just looks so different out the docking hatch right now. It's quite a bit darker. It's the same darkness, if not a little darker, than Grimaldi. But it's cool after just being in the 400 mil for the last half hour, looking up close. I got pictures of everything Ike was just describing on the Terminator. It really is a fascinating Terminator. And then Oriental just looks so dynamic right now. It's very three-dimensional out the docking hatch compared to what I was just looking at through the 400 mil.
We love it. We are getting a sneak preview from one of our SAW cameras at what you're looking at, and we see some of what you're describing. We cannot wait to see your photos. Thanks.
I want to see a sneak preview.
Yeah, Jenny, I wish you had some longer lenses on the solar array so you could see the whole moon, but man, it is, or the up-close moon, not the whole moon, but it is just fascinating here. It's so cool.
All right, MPO and Inco, take notes. We want a zoom lens on those saws next time. Thanks, Reed.
Affirmative.
As the crew gets ready to switch positions from the window crew going back to the support crew and the support crew flying up to the windows. This view inside the room, Capcom Jenny Gibbons speaking with the crew, Canadian Space Agency astronaut. The crew has continued to provide excellent descriptions of what they are seeing on the lunar surface. In this picture, or in this live view actually, from Orion and a camera mounted on its solar array wing, if you look at the dark portion on the right side of the screen, those are visible from Earth. That's considered the near side. Those are ancient lava flows from a time early in the moon's history when it was volcanically active. And if you look towards the left, there's that dark, large crater that appears to the left of those lava flows. That's Oriental Basin. It's about 600 miles wide, and it straddles the moon's near and far side. And this mission is the first time that humans have ever been able to see this with their eyes in the daylight. Again, you hear conversation about that terminator. You have a great view of that as well. That's the difference between light and darkness on the moon. Victor Glover explaining that as a very jagged looking terminator due to the peaks that they're seeing and the craters that they're seeing as they prepare to cross over the far side. You also heard science officer, the Dr. Kelsey Young, Artemis Science Flight Operations lead, sharing with Victor Glover that his responses are truly something that only human eyes can discern or provide. So we've previously discussed how having humans observing the moon on this mission is being combined with lunar robotic data to help us maximize what we know about the moon. So part of that data comes from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, or LRO. This orbiter provides the robotic foundation that makes Artemis 2 lunar science possible. LRO has been orbiting the moon for 17 years, which makes it the longest operated lunar orbiter in history.
Well, I didn't know that.
And it's also the only American spacecraft dedicated specifically to lunar science and exploration. Artemis 2 lunar observations are designed to complement data like the detailed surface images from LRO. So while LRO provides those detailed high-resolution maps of the moon's surface, the Artemis 2 crew adds human observations that focus on regional context and relationships between features, giving scientists a larger geologic picture. Now, this combination of robotic and human observations strengthens lunar science. LRO delivers precise and repeatable measurements over long periods of time, while the Artemis 2 crew contributes real-time visual descriptions and context that robotic instruments alone cannot provide. The best description I've heard while preparing for this mission is to compare the difference in looking at the moon with your own eyes on Earth and trying to take a picture with a camera. The camera truly never does it justice, and it's much easier to describe and perceive what you're seeing with your own eyes than to take a photo. These Artemis 2 astronauts can rapidly scan wide areas and adjust their focus in real time, as well as describe relationships between features. The crew will also observe the same regions multiple times under changing lighting conditions during the flyby and provide perspectives that would take robotic missions years to accumulate. During the Artemis 2 mission, LRO is also attempting to observe some of the same lunar features that the astronauts are studying. Collecting this data simultaneously highlights how different instruments and human eyes provide complementary information about the moon. This LRO data plays a direct role in preparing for future Artemis missions. Its measurements of topography, surface temperature, composition, radiation, and lighting conditions are used to assess hazards, identify safe landing sites, and locate potential resources such as water ice near the lunar South Pole. This mission, Artemis 2, represents the point where years of robotic preparation are paired with human exploration for the first time in the Artemis era. So together, LRO, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, and Artemis 2 are demonstrating how NASA moved from mapping the moon robotically to exploring it with humans. We are laying the groundwork for future Artemis missions and sustained lunar operations. A check-in with Orion. We are now 4 days, 21 hours, and 22 minutes into the flight of Artemis 2, our crew aboard the Orion spacecraft. We are now 8,153 miles.
Kind of froze the stream.
Away from the moon, 250,742 miles
switch windows
away from Earth. The spacecraft is
we
traveling
go.
at 1,030 miles per hour.
You can't see it. It's barely can see the numbers. It's behind my banner. Trying to move my screen up. Maybe I need to move my banner down. It's the text. It's alert box. Text. I don't want to move the text logo. Nope. Text.
All right, Houston, the professional science update giver is now in seat 2. That is where Victor is, and Christina is nestling into seat 1 with the long lens, and we're just getting ourselves oriented here. It's a cool view in the cabin. It's actually a cool view to be off the camera now and looking at my crewmates getting up to their observation posts and looking in. It's super fun.
As we heard confirmation from NASA astronaut and commander of Artemis 2, Reed Wiseman, they are now switching positions of the support teams and the observation teams. So initially, Reed Wiseman and Jeremy Hansen were at windows 2 and 3 in the Orion spacecraft, taking photos and making annotations in their PCDs, portable computing devices. They were also giving audible descriptions into their PCDs, wearing headsets with microphones and providing recordings that the science team will be able to listen to later. We were hearing from NASA astronauts Christina Cook and Victor Glover as they made observations as part of the support team. Now, as these teams are swapping, we anticipate hearing more from Reed and Jeremy as they'll be on the support team, while Victor and Christina will be at the windows taking photos and making annotations.
So you heard them talking about the LRO, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. It was launched in June 18th of 2009 to map the moon's surface. It's currently in its 5th extended mission. as of late 2022.
And Jenny, for the science team, if they could mark this time, I just covered up window 4 to block out the ambient light from a very bright planet Earth. And it'll be interesting to see if in the data, Victor and Christina see any differences from me and Jeremy with that window blocked. It's a lot darker in the cabin now.
Copy, Reed. We're taking note, and we'd be curious too.
We are live in the Artemis mission control room during the lunar flyby of the Artemis 2 crew, the first humans to fly by the moon in over 50 years. Orion launched 4 days, 21 hours, and 30 minutes ago atop the SLS rocket, Space Launch System rocket from Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Our 4 crew members inside the spacecraft are transitioning
All right, Brennan.
their positions. The cabin and window teams have swapped. Currently at the window, we have Victor Glover and Christina Cook, NASA astronauts, and serving as support, Reed Wiseman and Jeremy Hansen. For our crews at the window, they are using handheld Nikons with an 80 to 400 millimeter zoom lens. There are also GoPros on each of the solar arrays on Orion, and that's where this view is coming from right now. We have an interior camera of the crew as well, but they have dimmed the cabin lights. They've actually turned off the cabin lights to allow them to better see outside of the spacecraft. This also helps prevent any reflections from lights inside the spacecraft reflecting onto the windows while they are photographing the moon. We talked a little bit about the views and the cameras being used on the Orion spacecraft. And again, we do have GoPros on the tip of each solar array wing. Now, the bandwidth is a little bit limited because having a crew on board, we do have to downlink a lot more data. That includes their environmental control and life support system. We are not the only data, this view that you see, coming down from the spacecraft, and so we do rely on sharing some of that with the other flight controllers in mission control. This helps the team monitor all systems aboard the spacecraft and ensure the safety of our astronauts. We are standing by for a situation report from the crew aboard the spacecraft. They've been imaging the whole moon. There is now a new crew at the window. That would be Victor Glover and Christina Cook. And so being it's their first time since they have moved up to the window positions, they have a chance to orient themselves and describe and take pictures of any color or albedo variations across the surface. Reminder, albedo is the brightness or reflectiveness.
Integrity science for a science sit rep when you're ready.
We have no external view of the moon right now for the floating crew members, so my only science sit rep is that we have Victor in window 3 doing observations and Christina in window 2 with the long lens.
Integrity, we copy. Are the shrouds still on windows 1 and 4? And if so, would you consider trying to get a view through one of those windows?
We cannot take the shroud off of 4 because the Earth is too bright and it's impacting Ike's peripheral vision. And then I can get a grazing glimpse out the docking hatch window. I can see Oriental south down to the South Pole. And the primary thing that I see from Oriental right now is just the long trenches that come out. And, you know, when you come out the north side of Oriental, the ejecta kind of boulders across the northern half of the far side. But coming out the southern half of Oriental, I just see those large, here they look like gorges or almost like rain when it comes down the Grand Canyon and fingers off into the desert, kind of what it looks like. Also, Burgess Alpha is extremely bright. It's the brightest thing that I can see. Even brighter now than Aristarchus, which is heading off to the Terminator. It's almost impossible now to see Aristarchus, the thing that Jeremy and I looked so much at. I can just barely see the crater rays from Ohm, and I would say for albedo right now, I would go back to Grimati is still extremely dark, especially in that southwest corner, and there are parts of Oriental and the outer ring of Oriental that reach that same level of darkness, especially the rings of Oriental reach the same level of darkness as Grimati. And then south of Grimati, Jeremy and I were noting a few other just really dark areas of cratering, or I'm sorry, Mare there, and those have that same darker albedo, but Burgess Alpha is the brightest, and Grimati is the darkest.
Integrity Science, that was a great description. Thank you, and thanks for the docking window geometry to give us that description. Any comments before you go on the annular ring in Oriental?
The annular ring, which I think everybody kind of describes as like a pair of lips or a kiss on the far side of the moon from here, is very circular in nature. The northern part of it is wider, darker. The southern part is much lighter. It is very neat looking, and but it is far more circular than I remember it looking in our training. The darkness of the northern side of the annular ring is the same darkness from here out this docking hatch window as the center mare in Oriental. Not quite as dark as Grimati, but it is probably only because dust and lunar regolith has kind of impacted over time.
Reed, that's exactly what we were looking for. Thanks so much. You have heart hands coming out of the SIR.
Say that again, Kelsey.
Just saying that the SIR was really excited about that. That annular ring was something we were really eager to hear about, so thanks.
Yep, you bet. And now Victor and Christina are moving on to Oriental. I got them situated over there a little bit late.
That was NASA astronaut Reed Wiseman, now providing a science sit rep as he is away from the windows most of the time. He is working as the support person along with Jeremy Hansen in the spacecraft, as Victor Glover and Christina Cook are now at windows 2 and 3, able to photograph the moon. Christina and Victor are also providing recorded information
Hey,
to their
buddy.
portable computing devices,
We're
that's
in-
their
no,
PCDs,
sorry.
and the science team will
Nuke.
have access to that at a later time.
Jay
They will then
Meister's in
review it and compile all
chat.
of this
We're
data
in
to
a
help
private.
further our understanding of the moon.
You can hop
One
on
of the
and I
items
can
you heard
pull you.
mentioned was Oriental Basin. This has been a very exciting opportunity for the crew. They have all been very excited about seeing Oriental, as well as the science team has been looking forward to it. It is known as the Grand Canyon of the Moon, as we discussed earlier.
Oh, there you are, Jay Meister.
From the pictures, the science
Hey,
team
buddy.
is hoping that the crew will take centered images of the entire basin and surrounding craters in a single frame, but also use those 80 to
Jay
400
Meister.
millimeter zoom lenses
Yep.
to create a mosaic entire basin.
I got bored and just
With their
streaming.
unaided eyes, the science
didn't
team
even
is
hear you
hoping
come in
the
here.
crew will describe Southern Dark Annular Ring, which you heard Reed just
I
describing,
just discovered I didn't
as
need to
well
do
as any color,
another thing on
albedo,
my map.
texture, or topography
I
across
got
the
to put
Mare
the
patches and
wood
ring mountains.
contracts in.
Science
deadwood.
team
Oh, the wood.
reports that the observations
Oh, the
will be
deadwood.
used to
Yeah.
study the geologic evolution of the youngest
think I know how
lunar
to do it,
basin
and
and
as
to
soon as I know
inform
how to do it, I'll know
formation
how to do it on your map.
hypotheses for the annular ring.
Oh, are you talking about the wood transport, not the dead?
Both, because it's
And again, another
it's
fun
supposed
fact
you're
about
supposed to put it in
Oriental is
wherever you
the
want, and then
diameter
you
is
put
the
the
same
rotation and
distance
stuff
between
in
Johnson
the
Space Center, where we are today, and Kennedy
I3D.
Space Center, where the crew launched on April 1st.
Yeah.
Off the because
Yeah,
I did that on Brennan's map.
Yeah, I messaged Brennan because he sent me a picture that you were on, and I told him I'd be on after I got home from the store and cleaned the house, because I wanted to, because my mom comes home.
Kill some
she
time
comes
in
home.
stream. I could have worked on the map, but I'll probably end the stream here in just a minute or two. Because I gotta walk the dog and everything. So.
That's because I went to the store because
I like doing this stuff. If you can get, like, I could do all sorts of news stories on NASA because they got videos you can use and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and then with my map, we still gotta switch out the green shots. And I gotta figure out what I gotta figure. I mean, because I got two right now.
This live view from the Orion spacecraft on the Artemis
I gotta figure out
mission,
which one I'm gonna use.
7,373 miles away from
Which one I'm gonna use for which.
251,130 miles from Earth.
And I sent you both screenshots.
Okay.
Too that I have.
Trying to get mine buttoned up, then work on yours.
Yeah.
And Vanessa's at the same time. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Brennan. Breaking news! Brennan's here.
Hello.
Again, the Artemis 2 crew passed the Apollo 13 record of the humans farthest from the Earth today at 12:57 p.m. Central Time, 1:57.
Yeah, how close are you to the moon now, Dexter?
Looks like it's getting blurrier. I wish it was a better camera that they had on that ship on the outside. I know they're getting wonderful views on the inside.
248,655 statute miles. We have clearly passed that, and we expect to pass that by about 4,105
I was lucky
miles.
because my dog didn't wake me up at the
That will be
early.
when the
She didn't wake
spacecraft
me up
reaches
early
its
this
farthest
morning.
distance
She
from
actually
the
let me
Earth. It could
sleep
be
in,
around
so I was able to
252,760
get
miles.
almost
But
8
again,
hours of
these
sleep.
are approximations and our targets, and we will make sure to report back the final numbers once we have them.
Moon's getting bigger.
Yeah, the moon's getting bigger. I hear you echoing. Moon's getting bigger.
Make sure this is the side of the moon we never seen before. Just so you know.
We have some refined times of when we expect to have Earth set of Earth behind the moon while Orion flies behind the moon. That would be about 5:41 p.m. Central, 6:41 Eastern. The spacecraft would make its closest approach to the moon at 6 o'clock Central, 7 Eastern, and that would be about 4,066 miles. And then at 6:02 p.m. Central, and the spacecraft will reach its farthest distance from the Earth. We anticipate that'll be about 252,755 miles, which would be
Since you're still streaming,
4,111 miles farther than Apollo 13.
Shut my door.
We would see Earthrise again at 6:21 p.m.
running
Central
the
Time,
vacuum.
and a few minutes later, regain communications with the crew.
Nuclear. There's no cheese on the moon. Sorry.
Yeah, that's one of the fun facts about the moon, Nuke. There's no cheese. No Swiss cheese either.
No pepper
Currently
jack.
Aboard Orion, Victor Glover and Christina Cook are the two team members conducting lunar flyby observations, meaning they are using the Nikon cameras to photograph the moon, and their PCD, or the portable computing device, to conduct annotations. They are both recording information that will be downlinked to the science crew, and tomorrow morning the science team will have a conference with the team while the information is so fresh. They'll be speaking with the crew about their observations and their data collection. Otherwise, most of tomorrow, Flight Day 7, is considered an off day. We are on
No
Flight Day
cheese.
6 of the
No
Artemis 2
cheese.
mission.
No cheese,
the
but they
first
found
time
the
in more
man
than
on the
50
moon.
years that humans will observe the moon
And a rope.
directly, providing a critical opportunity to practice how lunar science will be conducted during future Artemis missions.
What band
If
did
you're
they found?
just joining us, the crew is well into their lunar flyby observations.
In a
We
rope?
anticipate that we will hear from them soon.
Yeah, rope the moon. Lasso the
A
moon.
few times every hour,
It was
they
the
are
man.
Have you
invited
ever
to
watched
call
that?
down with
Have you ever
science,
watched
reps,
the?
or situation reports?
You know,
We
It's a
most
Wonderful
recently had
Life.
one from Commander Reed Wiseman.
Yeah. What do you want? I'll lasso the moon for
He
you.
and Jeremy Hansen, mission specialist, were first at the windows today to photograph and make annotations of what they were seeing. Therefore, we heard more from Victor Glover and Christina Cook earlier in the day during those first blocks.
Mary,
But
I'll
now that
lasso the
Reed
moon
Wiseman
for
and
you,
Jeremy
Mary.
Hansen are on the support side, they are the ones calling down what they are seeing from windows 1 and 4. Earlier, we heard that the Earth is so bright in window 4, they have had to temporarily cover it with a T-shirt.
Wow, that's kind of something.
Retains evidence of ancient impacts, volcanism, and
Is it
solar
reconnected,
activity
Brennan?
that scientists can study today. And studying the moon
I don't
helps
think so.
scientists understand how
not.
planets formed and evolved,
It is now.
how the moon influenced our own planet Earth's history, and how the sun shaped
connected.
conditions across the inner solar
Does it
system.
basically
The moon
refresh
also
itself when it
serves
reconnects?
as a unique
Yeah.
platform for studying the broader universe. Artemis Science is designed
Probably
around
because I'm
questions
streaming
best answered by
YouTube
humans,
and
working alongside robotic
doing this.
systems,
They're
combining
streaming
decades of robotic lunar
their
data
stream.
with real-time judgment, context, and adaptability that only
You sort of see
humans
more the
can provide.
3D shapes now
This
on the
mission,
moon,
Artemis 2,
aren't you?
is serving
Yeah,
as a
but it
proving
looks like
ground
it,
for
the
lunar
closer it
science
gets, it's just
operations, which allows
this
NASA to test
camera
how
out here
scientists
doesn't impress
planned,
me. I wish I had a different.
executed,
They
and
had a different
supported
camera.
during a crewed deep space mission ahead
I don't
of
know
our
how they
future
did it on the
Artemis
Apollo
flights.
flights to get it look like it did, but there is videos of the lunar orbiter. There is some nice videos on there on the NASA website.
Integrity, time for a window team position swap. So Victor and Christina, please switch places if you've not done so already, and remember your SD card for the camera.
It switches to that picture, then it goes.
We're in the swap
Back.
right now. They're wrapping up their last comments, and they'll switch over and change cards from the long lens.
Copy.
Now it's even freaking blurrier.
As you heard in that call, it is now time for the team members at the window to swap positions. That means Victor Glover and Christina Cook will be switching roles. One of them has been photographing the moon with a Nikon with an 80 to 400 millimeter zoom lens, while the other was making annotations on their portable computing device. And both are recording audio that the science team will be able to listen to. We are now 2 hours and 10 minutes until we expect to lose signal with the spacecraft as they fly behind the moon. And the next target for the crew is considered a crew choice event. They have the option to focus on any regions or patterns or features that interest them. The science
Maybe
team
what they
will
will
ask the
say,
crew
don't you
to
probably end the
capture
swim?
pictures that illustrate their
What do you think?
choice,
Well, I'm
as
probably
well
going to
as
end
at
it here
different
right
zoom
now
levels,
because
and to
it's
describe
another
why
2.5
those certain features
hours
or regions caught
till
their
the dark
eye.
side, and I don't know if we're going to get any pictures from NASA. We might later that we could do
Those
just
recordings
a
are
newscast.
part of what are being saved on their PCDs,
So-
portable computing device, that will be sent to the science team for analysis.
Anyway. All right, I'm going to end my stream, and thank you for watching.
The crew has been allotted 8
NASA's
minutes
live coverage of the
for this
Artemis
crew
2
choice
moon
event,
mission
and it's
and flyby
also
of the
a
moon.
time for a
You can
scheduled
catch all their
sit rep or
coverage on
situation report.
NASA.gov.
So we expect to hear
Thanks
them
for
calling
watching
down
this,
what
Matt.
they are seeing
I
soon.
want to give a shout out to my moderators over on YouTube, Brennan Gaming, Nuclear, and Vanessa over on YouTube. And I don't have any moderators on Facebook to share with you. So, sorry.